I'm Adam, this is Kelly. We're with Sweet Clover Guide Service here on Lake Cumberland in Central Kentucky. Anyone that knows us knows we love the outdoors and we love cooking. And our favorite thing to do is combine those two worlds. I get to go on adventures with friends and family and bring back free-range, natural, organic protein.
And together we are passionate about taking that animal and showing it respect by turning it into something truly delicious. So instead of just throwing it into a pot of chili or tossing it on the grill, we take pride in crafting really unique recipes that are great for hunters and non-hunters alike.
It's a full circle way of eating. We're taking it from field to fork and we're very excited to share with you guys.
So today we're making venison bourguignon. Bourguignon sounds kind of fancy, but really all it is a French style beef stew. But today we're actually using venison instead. So we have some veggies, some herbs, and everything is going to be slow braised in red wine. And the red wine is really great because it helps to temper out some of those stronger flavors. So this is a great dish for people who are maybe new to eating wild game.
Okay, as far as ingredients go, the star of the show today is venison. I have deboned a shank and I've got a little shoulder roast in there. This is a dish where you can use some of those tougher cuts of meat, stuff that you would normally put into your grind pile. Don't waste your steaks on this.
Okay, we also have 8 ounces of bacon, yellow onion thin sliced, some small gold potatoes. We have about 1.5 pounds sliced in half. I have about 4 large carrots, rough chopped, 8 ounces of mushrooms. You can use any mushrooms. I like portobellos in this recipe, just sliced up, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, a cognac, we have a brandy right here. We're going to use an entire bottle of wine. You want to do a dry red wine, so I have a Pinot Noir. You could also use like a Cabernet or even like a Shiraz would be okay. Some beef broth, we're going to use 2 cups of that, some fresh thyme, and then about 8 to 10 cloves of garlic.
And don't worry about trying to remember all this. We'll put the recipe in the description.
So the first step is to cook off the bacon. We have already cut our bacon into a little less than 1-inch pieces. So we're just going to let this cook off, and then we're going to leave the fat that's rendered at the bottom of the pan to sear our venison in. So I'm just using a slotted spoon to scoop out our bacon, and that leaves all of that good fat in the bottom of the pan. As you can see, there's this really nice brown kind of crust on the bottom of the pan. Don't do anything with that. It's super delicious. It's going to add a lot of flavor when we're searing our venison.
The next step is searing our venison. Searing venison is important for this because it puts a coating on the outside of that meat. It locks in the flavor, locks in moisture more importantly. So a couple things to remember when you're searing your venison. You want to let it come to room temperature before you cook it. You don't want to overcrowd that pan. Overcrowding it causes more of a steam effect than it does a crisping. And then also you want to pat it dry. You don't want any moisture on that meat. And you want to make sure to always use tongs, because I've lost a lot of hand and arm hair doing this recipe. I think the cool thing about this one was a month ago I was chasing this thing through the woods, and now we're cooking a French dish with it. That's so weird to me. You have a filter on it or something.
Now you're left with this really beautiful brown crusting that is a combination of the renderings from the bacon and the venison. It's really delicious. It's going to serve as the base for our bourguignon. So don't do anything with it. Leave it there. It's super yummy. So we've removed the venison from the pan, and I've just added our carrots and our onions. We have it on about medium heat. And we're just going to let these cook for about 5 to 7 minutes, just enough to slightly soften. If you run out of bacon fat, then just add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the pan.
Whoever makes this dish.
So next step is pressing your garlic. So if you don't have a garlic press like I do, you can just mince your garlic up really fine and dump it in. Our carrots and onions have been on for about 7 minutes now. So You don't want to add it at the very beginning because garlic has a tendency to burn. It cooks a lot quicker than your other vegetables. So put this right at the end. We're just going to let the garlic cook for about a minute, and then we're going to add everything back into our pot. Everything is taking on this really great brown caramelized color. And so now we're ready to add in our cognac. So we're going to add a half cup. Just add this to your pot and let it cook down. If you like fire, then you can light it on fire. I don't advise this. It's kind of dangerous, but it's also kind of fun. Woo! Fire. And, whoa. And that actually burns off the alcohol. And I think it gives it like a kind of cool sort of smoky flavor. It's kind of risky. So those of you who value safety, don't do it to kind of cook. I think it kind of caramelizes the onions too, which is pretty cool. And it's out, it's done. So we're gonna add our venison back to our pot. An entire bottle of red wine. For the red wine, I would recommend getting something that tastes good, but also you don't have to spend a lot of money. So this costs like, I think $7.99 at the grocery store. It tastes good, but it's not super. We're gonna add our tomato paste. Okay, we're gonna add about 2 cups of beef broth. You can measure it out. I like to guess. Last but not least, we're gonna add our fresh thyme. So if you have butcher's twine, then it's really nice if you kind of just tie a little bow around your thyme. It's nice because then you don't have to, whoopsies, you don't have to fish your thyme out at the end. If you don't, you can, whoopsies. If you don't, you can just throw the thyme in there. But definitely don't forget the thyme. The thyme is what gives it such a good earthy herbal flavor, and so it's really important. So don't forget your thyme. Whoopsies. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and roast our potatoes. So we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil, a little salt and pepper at the same temperature as your stew. If you like for your potatoes to be a little bit more golden brown, then increase your temperature towards the end to about like 375, and that'll give your potatoes that nice crisp. So our mushrooms are nice and tender now, and they have that nice golden brown color. So they are ready to be taken off the heat.
Okay, we've had this in our pot for about 3 hours in the oven. We've let thyme do all the hard work. Add our potatoes and our mushrooms back in there and give it a good stir. So we've finished our dish. It's cooked for more than 3 hours. We've put it in a bowl. There's a few things we can do to make this prettier. We tend to eat with our eyes first, so anything you can do to perk that dish up is appreciated, I'm sure. I like to brown off a little sourdough bread and put it in the bowl. That gives you just a base to put that on. You can also add a few bay leaves to that. That gives it a little color for pictures and such. And then also I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, so I like to sprinkle a little bacon on top. Hunting and preparing wild game is something that's very dear to us. We feel like it's healthy and ethical, and it's enriched our lives in many ways. For me, every piece of meat I bring home has a story. We get to go on an adventure. I get to do things with the ones I love out in nature.
And for me, I really enjoy learning how to cook wild game, and I really enjoy trying out different types of wild game. And I think even more than that, I've gained a really deeper appreciation and respect for the entire hunting process and all that it entails.
It's something that we both enjoy, but we can also enjoy together. I mean, we want to share that with everyone. If there's anything that we can do for anyone in this process, how to butcher, how to cook, how to hunt, please drop us a comment in the comment section or send us an email. Our email will be in the description. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.